everyone, this is Ashley Latecki Ellenboss with Skyhouse Herb School and Apothecary, and today I'm going to share with you my favorite sources for buying herbs. Now, this is going to be a big topic, so I have a PowerPoint with a lot of links that I will also include in the about and description so that you can find and have easy access to all of these great herbal resources. Before I start diving in, if you would please subscribe to my channel and please like this if you would like to. That way other people can find me and can also hear about these wonderful, sustainably sourced organic growers and medicine makers. And I think this is so important that we do now is that we spread the word of people that are doing good work in the herbal world. So here are the three things that we are going to talk about. I'm going to share my screen so that way we can see these different topics. I just need to go here and here. All right, so today we will talk about reputable small-scale herb farmers, growers, and manufacturers, ethical and high quality, large scale herbal and supplement suppliers. So this includes things like where to buy vitamins and minerals and multivitamins and things like that. And then 3 is general tips for sourcing products locally. And this is really important because as much as we can, we want to try to buy and support from small businesses. So, I know not everyone will be able to do this. Maybe you live really far out in the country, or this is going to be harder for you, but I did want to include this, just some good ideas for how you can meet local herbalists, local herb growers, and product makers. All right. So before we go into this, I did want to talk a little bit about my background. Like, why should you listen to me? Why am I maybe somebody to listen to when it comes to sourcing your own herbal products? So I have been in the herbal industry for over 20 years. I've been working, or I should say, I have worked at herbal I've worked at herb shops. I've worked at large sale retailers. I was an assistant manager in a supplement and herb area for a health food store in my earlier years. I've also worked with naturopathic doctors in their doctors' offices. I've worked in more, sort of integrative medicine doctors' offices and clinics where I've worked in their apothecary and worked with suppliers. I'm also a clinical herbalist. I have 3 years of training, full-time training, and I have a master's of science in clinical herbal medicine. And I've been working on my own as a clinical herbalist for about 14 years. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of trust, in me and the work that I've done, the people I've worked with in both the sort of more Western traditional medicine community, as well as, a more holistic centered medical spheres. And that, I've just been in this world a very long time. So I've seen a lot of products, I've used a lot of products, I've recommended a lot of products. And so I can tell you what really does work. I also want to say that I am not affiliated with any of the companies I'm going to talk about. So I have no financial investments or interests. Nobody pays me to say anything. These are all just my own opinions, and of course, trust your own instincts and your own intuition when it comes to connecting and supporting the herbal companies that you feel most ethically aligned with. Now, again, I feel ethically aligned with all of these companies. They all source organically. They are all organic wildcrafters when possible, or I should say ethical wildcrafters. So they try to source products that grow in the wild in a very ethical and sustainable way. A lot of these companies, I know the people personally. So I'll tell you a little bit about my own personal connection with these different companies and the people who work there and even founded them, so that maybe you can also feel a little bit more intimately connected to them. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to go back to my screen share. And that way you guys can see these different companies that I'm talking about. I know sometimes I'll say names of things and people will write in the comment section, what was that? What did you say? And especially when there's the auto captions on, sometimes the words, if they're not in the common vernacular, they'll translate very strangely. So yeah, so I wanted to make sure that I have these written up for you so that you can see them. So here we go. First, we're going to start with reputable small scale growers and farmers. So these would be places to go if you want to source materials that are dried, available in bulk. Let's say you want to start drinking a lot of nettle tea and you need good, high quality dried nettles. Or let's say you want to make a big batch of a catnip tincture and you need to find organic dried catnip. So these are all going to be farmers and growers, people who can supply these high quantities of herbal, roots, seeds, leaves, flowers, etc. So my number one is Oshala Farms. They're based out of Oregon, and I was able to meet the owner in when I was at the American Herbalist Guild conference. When I was sitting on the board of directors, I met the owners there, and they were just lovely women. It's a women-based or women-run business, and one thing that I just couldn't believe was the brightness and the freshness of their dried herbs, especially their calendula, their yarrow, their nettles. Everything was just, the colors were beautiful. So since that time, that was probably about 4 years ago, this is where I source my nettles and my calendula, my chamomile. A lot of the flowers that from larger scale providers can be really kind of, washed out or older. They're not as fresh. So Oshala Farm, super easy to work with, great customer service, easy to order online. They also have a lot of products that they make, like hair rinses and herbal vinegars, and they make a great fire cider. So you can also check out their other products. The second one is very, very small scale. And this is a woman that I've been working with for about 10 years. Her name is Pamela, and her husband run this small farm in North Carolina called Gentle Harmony. And they have the best burdock root. So that's, really when I'm looking for burdock root, my yarrow I source from there. They have really good tulsi, but their products are also super high quality. And Pamela is so sweet. So I really like to support them whenever possible, and order from them. I will say with Gentle Harmony and Oshala that they have limited supply. So you do need to order sometimes in advance of the growing season or advance of the harvest season. So they usually harvest their roots in the fall. So now would be a good time to get on their wait list for burdock root for the 2022 season. And they'll usually send that to you in the fall. Number 3 is 4 Elements Herbals. And this is a company that is run by a lovely, lovely woman. This is a picture of Jane Hawley and David Stevens. They run 4 Elements Herbals. They've become much larger in the last few years. When I met Jane, her and her husband, they're based out of Wisconsin. They plant their fields based on the elements. So each field is, there's fire, water, earth, and air. And, they've now been providing their products to places like Whole Foods and Mom's Organic Market, which is on the East Coast. So you might see their products in a lot of different herb shops and health food stores now, but they started off quite small. And I love that they're in the Midwest. So I tried to include, 3 companies in 3 different parts of the United States. I'm sorry for those of you who are overseas, this might not be as helpful for you, at least not these small scale if they don't ship overseas. But if you live in the US and maybe in this area, it might be helpful for you to know who's local. So we've got Oshala on the West Coast, we've got Gentle Harmony in North Carolina, and 4 Elements in the Midwest. And 4 Elements, again, because they're larger, they also carry, I'll go to the next slide. They actually have a lot of other products as well. So you may want to also look to them as a provider for tinctures, and they make a really great St. John's wort oil. And they have packaged tea blends that are really nice, like a sleepy time tea, an energy tea, a tulsi tea. So, if you want to buy something that's in a box, that's in a tea bag, something that's a little bit more prepared, 4 Elements is a great source for this as well. And then let's go back to California, because this woman, Kara Sanders, is amazing. She studied with Matthew Wood, who is also one of my teachers, and she lives in Mount Shasta, California. She now grows a lot of her own herbs. When I first met her, she was wildcrafting all of her plants from the beautiful mountains and mountainsides of Mount Shasta out in California. And her products are super high quality. She makes tinctures, salves, wonderful. I use her plantain and her first aid salves. She also sells a wonderful first aid kit. So if you don't have an herbal first aid kit, buy yours from Bear Wallow Herbs. It's fantastic. You stick it in your suitcase when you're going to travel. It's got something for if you get stomach sickness like diarrhea, something for constipation, something for your immune system, things for the skin. Just about everything is covered in her first aid kit. So she's wonderful. She also is the only source I've found for Easter lily tincture. So she makes her own Easter lily tincture, which is something that Matthew Wood recommends a lot, especially for complaints of the womb and female reproductive issues, for fibrocystic breasts, mood swings, PMS, things like that. It's a great herb, and I haven't found it anywhere else except for her. And then the last smaller scale tincture and herbal product company that I really adore is Herbalist and Alchemists. And this is David Winston's company. It's his brainchild. And this is based out of New Jersey on the East Coast. So David Winston, he has studied with Rosemary Gladstar, with a lot of the great herbalists from the UK. He has a background also in Chinese medicine. So a lot of his herbal products and formulas come, they're infused with the wisdom of Chinese medicine. And so I use a lot of his blends for clients. If, for example, I can't custom formulate something for them, I will look to Herbalists and Alchemists formulations and often buy something. For example, they have a really great women's calm hormonal balancing blend. They have a lot of men's health blends. They've got great adaptogenic blends. If you're looking for support for the adrenals, they have kidney support blends. So just about any blend, you can look it up by condition or by system. It's a very user-friendly website. And you can find blends that are going to be very, very targeted at what you might be looking for, as well as standalone tinctures like agrimony, catnip. He has a wonderful skull cap. It's probably one of my favorite skull cap tinctures is made by Herbalists and Alchemists. So you can go to their website, which again, I'll include all of these in the descriptions of my YouTube channel, in the description in this talk. So you can find those direct links. What else do we have? Next, we will go to professional custom compounding apothecaries. Now, so if you are, for example, a professional herbalist, let's say you are seeing clients and you want to build your own apothecary, you really want to, get a bunch of herbs that you can custom blend. So when I was in herb school at the Maryland University of Integrative Health, located in Maryland, I had the good fortune of studying herbal formulation and medicine making with Matthew Perisco, who is the founder of Galen's Way. He has since moved to California, but he is an incredibly precise medicine maker, and his tinctures are really potent. And I mean, he is a wizard when it comes to knowing exactly how to extract the most and the best and the most important compounds out of each plant. So if you are a professional, you have to have had clinical herbal training, and you have to be able to send in your certificate of completion for clinical training in order to order from Matthew. So if you have studied with me, either in my year 1 or my year 2, my second year is the clinical studies, then you can order in bulk from Galen's Way, and even not bulk, you can order, I think the smallest you can order from him is 4 ounces, which is 120 milliliters, which is, if you want to look back in the camera, that's about this size. So this is, it's not that expensive. It won't break the bank, but you can order up to 16 ounces. And again, super high quality single herb extracts. Then the second one is if you're a professional herbalist and you want somebody to custom compound blends for you. And this is who I use right now for my clients, even though I'm on sabbatical right now. Before I went on sabbatical, once I closed down my own, because I was custom formulating my own blends in Maryland when I had my apothecary in Silver Spring. But when I closed that and moved everything online, I started using 5 flavor herbs based out of California, and they're wonderful. Ben and Ingrid, they're Chinese herbalists, and they're both acupuncturists, and really, really talented in the way that they understand the body and energetics. So you can buy herbal blends from them just as a regular consumer. You don't have to be a clinician, but if you do want to utilize their custom formulating compounding apothecary, where you can blend your own teas, your own powders, and your own tinctures using a very, very easy to use online system, then you can reach out to them. But you will need to provide some proof that you are a clinical herbalist. That can include also being an RH, or a registered herbalist with the American Herbalist Guild. Number 3, which is actually a great place for beginner herbalists who are starting their custom compounding practice, is Strobe Apothecary, based out of Maryland. And the people who started this business formerly worked for Smile Herb Shop, based out of College Park, which is like a beloved herb shop in the Maryland, DC area. So they started their own apothecary. And so a lot of the graduates from my year 1 program, so you don't actually have to have clinical training. You just have to have some herbal training to use their custom compounding facilities. Now, they only custom compound teas for you. They don't do tinctures, but they do a great job, and they're very easy to work with. Olivia is the main operator of this company, and she's also an aromatherapist and does wonderful work with crystals. So while you're on the Strobe Apothecary website, you can pick up some beautiful crystal necklaces and bracelets and aromatherapy tools, and they have a ton of magical things on their website, so you can check them out as well. And they are great. Because I know sometimes you just, maybe you don't want to buy 4 ounces of 5 herbs. You just want to make a blend, let me make a summertime blend with hibiscus and rose and some other cooling herbs. You could connect with Strobe Apothecary and have them start making seasonal blends for you that are custom, that you are, custom formulating for yourself. We went back in time. Let's go forward. All right. Now we're gonna jump forward to some large scale bulk suppliers. So these are places that don't grow their own herbs. They import herbs from all over the world and then disperse them. So Mountain Rose Herbs, if you are in the herbal world at all, you probably have heard of them. They source their herbs. They do offer organic and very few non-organic. Mostly their herbs are organically sourced. But sometimes the quality is great, and sometimes I've had batches of things that are not great. Like I got a batch of calendula, which was this terrible pale yellow and completely dried out, where you want your calendula flowers to be greasy and resinous and thick and oily and bright yellow or bright orange. So I've had some pretty, bad batches from them, and I can't blame them, because it's really hard to move that much product. But they are easy to, you can probably order from them overseas, and they'll always have what you need. Pretty much, there's a few times where they've had shortages, when there's been global shortages of certain herbs, but on the whole, they're very reliable and reputable. You can buy also from them tinctures. You can buy jars and tincture bottles, spray bottles, salves, syrups, vinegars, and then even bulk herb cooking spices you can buy from them. They have just about everything that you would need when it comes to herbal manufacturing and taking herbs. The second company is Specialty Bottles. They're based out of Washington. This is where I source my bottles. So when I'm working with clients and I'm custom formulating tinctures or sprays or powders, this is where I buy my bottles and tin containers and things like that. So I don't love that they package their things with a lot of styrofoam stuff. So that's my only downside, is their prices are really good. Their selection is great, but their packaging is not very environmentally friendly. So, if you're just buying small amounts, I would recommend going with someone like Mountain Rose or somewhere where they're going to package it a little bit better. And then my last, and I wanted to say that this is actually more of a small scale bulk supplier. However, they have a ton of options. So Foster Farm Botanicals, which is based out of Vermont, I haven't ordered from them before, but when I was looking at their website, I love that they were small scale, sustainable, organic farmers, and that they had just about every herb I could think of in stock. So that's always nice to see, because I know, again, a lot of people, really small scale herb suppliers, sell with the growing season. Like, for example, Zach Wood's Herb Farm, who are wonderful husband and wife team. They've written books on small scale herbal growing. They're wonderful, but it's really, a lot of their stuff, if you go to their website, they're sold out of already. So that's one of the downsides of trying to buy and support small scale farmers, is that they, if they're good, they sell out pretty fast. Where can you buy large scale tinctures and supplements? So I mentioned that for Elements Herbals, they have a lot of tinctures. That Mountain Rose has tinctures, but a company that is very specific in making high quality tinctures that you can find, even I think I've seen them in grocery stores these days, is Herb Farm. And so Herb Farm was founded by Ed and Christopher Hobbs. I'm forgetting Ed's last name, but I met them both. I've done herb walks with them and studied with them at different herb conferences. And they're both very charming, very funny, elder herbalists. And their company is now huge, but they make very, very high quality herbal products with no artificial colors, sweeteners, preservatives. This is a picture of their turmeric tincture that they're putting in some water. So they, if you need to buy online through Amazon or from their website or from, some larger source, I always trust them. They always have high quality products. Same thing goes for Gaia Herbs, based out of North Carolina. They're they have a huge manufacturing plant, but they do a great job of creating very high quality botanicals. What I like about Gaia Herbs is they also offer their herbs in soft gels and these highly concentrated herbal extracts, where you get a 1-to-1 ratio of the compound, of the compound in the solvent, which for the layperson basically just means it's potent stuff, man. and it's easy to take because it's in a capsule. So if you're looking, if you have, like, let's say you're trying to get your dad to take herbs, you're trying to get your kids to take herbs, and they're not going to take a bitter tincture, then you might be able to get them to swallow some of these gel caps. It's pretty easy to get down with a sip of water. So I like them for that purpose. And then lastly, for those of you who are looking for a high quality supplement company, New Chapter, again and again, is always at my number one. I've used them with my clients. I use them with my family. They came to my herb school and did a presentation. And one of the reasons I love them is that they do something that's very it's not as unique now, but it was very unique when herb companies were first starting to extract the standardized constituents out of plants. So, for example, a lot of clinical trials that we see on herbs like turmeric or ginkgo, they'll standardize a certain percentage of the known compound that seems to have the best, or seems to have the highest efficacy for a certain condition. So let me give you an example. So in turmeric, it's the curcumin that is the the compound that seems to have the highest effect of being anti-inflammatory. Or for example, hypericin is the compound found in St. John's wort that seems to have the strongest effects on mood and mood dysregulation or depression. So when companies, or so when labs or research is done and they standardize the plants to a certain percentage of these specific compounds, a lot of people want to use things that have those specific percentages and compounds because that's what has been proven to be effective. However, a lot of us know that it's often the whole plant and all of the other compounds that support and enhance that particular drug or compound that actually make the herb itself not only a little bit more safe, but also can make it more effective. So what New Chapter does is they will take that standardized extract and blend it with the whole plant product. So for example, they'll use all of the compounds in ginger and they'll add the standardized extract of the curcuminoids to what has been studied. They blend those together in their product. So I really like this. And I wrote that they're based out of Costa Rica and Vermont because they have a huge turmeric farm in Costa Rica where they source and they pretty much manufacture all of their turmeric there. It's a beautiful, beautiful farm. And then they also have their main headquarters based out of Vermont. So they're kind of international at this point. But they, again, I really like their products. So if you're looking for, standardized capsules of different herbs, if you're looking for supplements, they also add a lot of herbs into their multivitamins for children, for adults, for seniors, prenatal vitamins. That's what I used when I was pregnant, is I used the New Chapter prenatal vitamins. So they're just very high quality, and with high quality, sorry, comes a high price tag. So ching, ching, expect to spend a lot of money if you're going to buy a New Chapter, but I think it's well worth it. They also have a great product called Zyflamend, which is a wonderful anti-inflammatory that I found to be very helpful for rheumatoid arthritis and arthritic joint conditions when they're inflammatory based or based on, or when there's a high amount of inflammation with the arthritis. So again, I've just seen in my clinical practice, it worked very well. And I just really know that they stand behind and they do a lot of research on their products. All right, now the last tip that I wanted to talk with you about is how do you find herbs? How do you source things that are local? Because ideally you want to find products that are coming from someone maybe in your local community. So I would recommend, if you haven't already gone to your local farmers markets, or maybe even not just local, but in the general area, try to visit your farmers markets and see if there's any herb growers there. Talk to them, see what they grow. Maybe you can work out something with them. I know one of my clients, or one of my students, she's now a graduate of my herbal program. She started an herbal CSA based out of West Virginia. So she's in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. You can look her up. Her name is Allie McClatty. And I forget the name. I'm blanking on the name of her herb company, but I think it's Beloved Botanicals. I'll put that in my description. But there's a lot of herbalists that do CSAs or work at herbal farmers or sell their products at farmers markets. So see if you can find someone like that to source your herbs from, and then you can dry them yourself and make your own stuff. That's ideal. Also check out and search herbal fairs and gardening chapters or local gardening groups or herb groups in your area. I know the American Herbalist Guild has chapters throughout the United States and also abroad. But there's also, I know, gardening clubs, and that's a great way to meet local herbalists and people who are plant people and to find out where they're sourcing their herbs. You can also do a Google search, herb growers near me, and you'd be surprised at how many people are out there growing herbs on their farms or at their flower shops, right? And so you can start to source your herbs that way as well. So I hope this is helpful. Maybe this is giving you some ideas of where you can find herbs, where you can source them, some companies that you can start to bookmark or maybe make a list of for when you need to buy your own herbal products. So let me know what you think. Please subscribe. Please like this if this was helpful. Share it if you know anyone that you think might benefit from this list of herbs and growers. And of course, as always, please leave your comments. Please leave your own favorite herb companies or herbal suppliers so that we can continue to grow and expand upon this list. So thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you again soon. Take care.